Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk to you guys about two things today. One of them isn't so serious, and one of them is actually pretty serious, and it's been affecting why I haven't been doing as many videos, or really any videos lately. I've just been doing live streaming, and I've been live streaming just about every single day. So let's just segue right into the first thing here is that I live stream mainly on Twitch. I can't make a video saying, hey guys, I'm live streaming right now, because YouTube blocks that. YouTube punishes the creators that do that. They hurt their channels, they strike their channels, and sometimes they remove their channels. So I can't just be like, hey guys, I'm live streaming, and then you guys go ahead and can come into my Twitch stream. But I can do a video like this where there's something else going on that we talk about, and I kind of bring it up. So, in the description, twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. We stream there just about every single night at around 10 p.m. Eastern. So I've been doing a little bit earlier, though, too. So you folks in Europe aren't necessarily going to be totally in the dark. So make sure you go follow over there, and you can also download the Twitch app on your phone. That way you get notifications for when we're streaming, and you can come hang out with me, get involved with the fam. We have a really, really awesome group on that website, a really good community, and you'll feel right at home, and you'll make some good friends. So that's something that I do just about every single day. I wasn't doing it for a while, and I wasn't doing videos for a while either, and that's because of what we're going to talk about now, which is the roller coaster of health crap that I've been dealing with. So I guess we'll just start from the beginning, because otherwise you might not be able to understand why it is, how it is, where we're at, why I'm here, why I haven't been doing as much with videos, or even with, Telltale episode 1 of the final season of Walking Dead, why I only did 3 videos on that instead of doing a whole bunch of stuff like I usually would. So, health issues. That's what's been slowing me down. Let's talk about how they started. I was teaching class around July sometime, middle of July, I think. I was teaching Zumba or group fitness, whatever you want to call it. And during that time, it was towards the end of one of my classes, and we were pushing ourselves really hard. And towards the end of that class, I started to black out, and it was really, really scary and kind of, harrowing when it was happening. My vision started to tunnel in. It was a black tunnel. My hearing kind of started to go away, I guess. Things just started to become more muffled, like everything was just kind of turning off, basically. And I was like, oh God, I need to stop or I'm going to pass out. And I stopped, and it got better within about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. At the time, I was like, maybe I just pushed myself too hard or something. I don't know what was going on. And then the next week, it happened again, which was really interesting. And I wasn't pushing myself as hard, but it also didn't happen as hard that time either. But I could feel that type of same sensation. So even with those two things happening, I didn't go to the doctor yet, because I was like, okay, maybe I'm just sick or I'm pushing myself too hard. But eventually, what happened after that second time was I was just always dizzy. Or maybe dizzy's not the right word, but like dazed. Like I'd stand up and I'd be like, whoa, where am I at, man? So it's kind of wobbly, not necessarily settling on my feet very well. Kind of like, let's pretend that somebody flashed a light in front of you, and then like a little bit afterwards when you're recovering, you're just like, whoa, man, what just happened? That type of feeling. That was me pretty much all the time. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the doctor here, because I don't know what's going on. I don't want to be teaching class, and then all of a sudden I fall over because something's going on in my body, or I don't know, could be a heart attack, could be a stroke, could be something more malicious than that. I'm not sure. So I went to the doctor, and he was like, I don't know, maybe a vertigo. So he was completely not helpful. And I decided, I was like, well, I'm still dealing with symptoms here, and I don't want to just sit here and be like, okay, maybe it'll get better, because he's like, you maybe a benign vertigo, which basically it just goes away eventually, and then everything's all better again. So I was like, well, maybe it's my eyes. I've never been to the eye doctor before. Maybe my eyes aren't working together very well, and I'm getting dizzy based on what I'm seeing. I'm not sure. So I went to the eye doctor, and I did my first routine checkup ever at 26, which don't do that. You better get to the eye doctor sooner than I did. Jesus Christ. And just about everything was fine. So my vision's fine. My left eye is like 20/15, so I have better than 20/20 vision in my left eye. My right eye's a little bit worse, I think. It's like 20/25 or 20/30. I don't know. It's not bad, but it has an astigmatism, which makes it bad. Or maybe, I don't even know what it is. Either way, it has an astigmatism, which makes things a little weird. I could see colors just fine. My blind spot test was fine. All these sorts of things were fine. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to go. But then we did one more test, which is called an OCT. And what an OCT is when they take a picture of your optic nerve in the back of your eye, and they measure ratios between the optic cup in the optic disc and the optic nerve in your eye, and that determines how much cupping there is, yada, yada, yada. And that right there is what started this whole awful roller coaster of what the heck is wrong with me. So what happened was he did the OCT. If you ever had an OCT done, they give you all sorts of colors on the dumb thing. There's green, yellow, red. Green's the best. Yellow's watch out. Red's like, oh God, what's happening? So when they were measuring the thickness of my optic nerve, parts of my optic nerve were in the yellow area on the right eye. It was like green, 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 and then a little bit of yellow. And then on the left eye, it was like green, 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 red, yellow, yellow. So that meant that I was losing part of my optic nerve or something. And when you go ahead and you take a look at what causes your optic nerve to thin, and then you combo it up with the dizziness that I had been having, we kind of went on red alert because that can mean a lot of scary, awful things. So some of the things it could have been that we were looking out for were a brain tumor, a brain aneurysm, perhaps a clot somewhere, I don't know, an autoimmune disease like MS or multiple sclerosis, if you don't know what that is. I mean, maybe it's a blood problem. I'm just not getting enough blood up to my eyes, like my heart's not working well enough. I'm not sure. So the eye doctor is like, I think you might have MS, so you got to go get this checked out. And he referred me to a neuro-ophthalmologist in Madison, Wisconsin. And UW-Madison, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's one of the best medical areas in the whole country. So I felt like I was in pretty good hands there. So talked to the neuro-ophthalmologist, and she looks at my eyes, and she's like, yeah, your eyes are a little bit more thin than they should be, or like the little less pink than they should be. Your optic nerves are a little less pink. And she was like, well, maybe you do have MS. And this was after we went ahead and ruled out things like a vitamin B12 deficiency, because that can cause a lot of these same symptoms. And to be clear, there was also other things that I was dealing with. And that was like a tingling in my hand, a tingling on the right side of my face and on the right side of my scalp. I felt like I wasn't thinking very clearly sometimes, so a cognitive issue. My jaw was really hurting. All sorts of stuff was really going on. And one thing I really realized during all this, I'll continue on with what the neuro-ophthalmologist wanted me to do, but one thing I really learned with all this is never in my life, like I've always had like an anxiety type thing. I know you guys don't really see it because I keep it pretty close to the chest, but never in my life have I ever had anxiety be so extreme that it manifests itself so physically so often. So much of what, like, I was like immobilized with how much it was just wrecking on my body, because when you have two doctors telling you that you have MS or that you likely have MS, that is so much to handle, especially when you're 26 years old, you got your whole life ahead of you. That is so much to handle. And I'll explain what MS is in case you don't know what it is, but it's a very tragic disease that leaves a lot of people disabled in multiple areas of their life. So that's what I was looking at. And because of the eyes, that was just like a really, really big red flag. And again, the anxiety was just, I feel like it was causing a bunch of the other symptoms, but then there was just like, well, what's being caused by whatever's wrong versus what's being caused by my own mind playing tricks on me because I'm just so anxious all the time. Like I couldn't get out of bed. I was so tired, the freaking numbing, all that type of stuff. Anywho, so let's continue on with what the neuro-ophthalmologist was talking about. So the neuro-ophthalmologist was like, yeah, you might have MS. So what we're going to do is we're going to get you in for a brain MRI. And the reason why a brain MRI is crucial to go ahead and see what's going on is because if it is something, we'll be able to see it, be it a brain tumor, an aneurysm, or even if it is something like MS, because MS tends to leave lesions inside your brain, meaning it's abnormal tissue that has been attacked by your immune system. So I ended up having the MRI, and it was negative. The only thing that showed up was a Rathke's cleft cyst, I believe is what they're called. And it's a little thing in my pituitary gland. It was so small that they couldn't even see it, or they could hardly even see it. So it wasn't causing any compression issues on my eyes. They thought it was completely benign, incidental, don't worry about it. And actually, a lot of people have them, apparently. They're very common. A lot of, like, 20 to 30% of people have one by the time they're, on the autopsy table. Anywho. So that was insanely good news. So they looked at my brain, they looked at my optic nerves, they looked at the optic chiasm, I think it's called. It looked at all that stuff, and there was no inflammation, there was no signs of structural damage anywhere or scarring or anything. So that was insanely good news. So where are we at then in terms of what's going on next if there's nothing going on in your brain, but you still have this eye problem? Like what's the deal with that? So it still could be MS, technically. And let me explain what MS is. MS is a disease. It's an autoimmune disease that attacks your central nervous system. So what autoimmune diseases are, it's when your own immune system attacks your something in your body. So like I said, it's an autoimmune disease of the central nervous system. So that means that your immune system starts attacking your spinal cord, starts attacking your brain, starts attacking your optic nerves, and maybe other parts of your body too, but they most often can see them and scan for them in the brain, the spine, and the optic nerves. And since my optic nerves are thin, there is reason for concern for the MS thing, especially because it's really rare for optic nerves to go thin at my age. Glaucoma can cause that, but my eye pressure is normal, and glaucoma at my age is also very rare. So in terms of how it still could be MS, and to go into a little bit more detail about how MS works, if you remember your 5th grade science class, your nerves have this thing called a myelin sheath. It's like a fatty thing around your nerves. It protects your nerves from being interfered with other things in your body so that your nerves can properly send signals throughout your body. What MS does is your immune system attacks that myelin sheath around your nerves, exposing your nerves, and that causes a lot of dysfunction in the body. And that can cause things like cognitive issues or dementia. It can make it so that you're unable to move very well. You get muscle spasticity. You suffer from immobility. You might have to end up using a wheelchair. It can make it so you can't really control when you go to the bathroom as well anymore from both ends. It can make it so that you go blind. And that was part of the concern with how my optic nerves are thinning, that MS is causing that to happen. It can make it so that your hands shake, you have tremors, you have trouble controlling your body. Really, you just kind of have your body eaten from the inside out. And in some people, it's as minor as they just get more sensitive to the hot and the cold. And some people, they are in wheelchairs within like a couple of years after diagnosis, because there's different types of MS. There's benign MS where they found lesions, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything anymore. You're just fine. It just happened, and for some reason it happened, and it's not happening anymore. Then there's relapsing MS where it comes and goes. So you'll get a wave of what they call a relapse, and then, or an episode, and then a bunch of things happen to your body, and then some of those things permanently stick around, and then some things you recover from. Ultimately, your body just becomes more and more disabled. And then there's progressive MS where your body just is slowly becoming disabled at a constant rate or a more constant rate. So again, things like going blind, not being able to use your arms and your legs like you used to, having a lot of pain, a lot of muscle tension, all that type of stuff. It's a very scary disease. And interestingly enough, something very similar was brought up in Spider-Man on PS4, the new Spider-Man game that just came out. Towards the end of the game, there's somebody who's sick, and they talk about vasculitis, which, and the way that they described it was actually an autoimmune problem that was affecting their whole body and causing them to die. But that one was a little more a rare case scenario, but it's just interesting that it was brought up in Spider-Man. So, where I'm at now that you kind of got an idea of what it is, what I've been facing, what they've been scaring me with, what's next? Because if your MRI is negative meaning they couldn't find anything, what's going on? So, what's possibly what we're going to be doing next? So you guys kind of have an idea of where I'm at and where we're going to be. I'm going to be seeing a regular neurologist, not a neuro-ophthalmologist, just a regular straight-up neurologist, and they're going to take a look at my MRIs, and I don't know, maybe they'll see something that the neuro-ophthalmologist didn't see. Not really betting on that because the neuro-ophthalmologist has been practicing for 40 years, and she's been at one of the best freaking clinics in the whole country. Not really expecting anything there, but what we might do is do an MRI of my spine and then maybe they'll find things on my spine, because sometimes MS can sit on the spine. The reason why we have to keep investigating MS is because, again, something happened to my eyes. It is possible that I was just born this way, but it's very unlikely that my nerves are just so thin and that I have such cupping in my eyes. It's not likely from what I've been told. If you guys have anything to share in the comments, oh my God, please let me know if you've had a similar issue and you're fine. There was somebody who came into my Twitch chat, and I can't tell you how much better they made me feel. So like, yeah, I have the same problem. They don't know why it's going on. It's just, I don't know, had it for my whole life, and that's just, my eyes are just that way. And I was like, thank God you exist. Gives me a little bit of hope, you know? And then, but yeah, I'm going to go to a neurologist, and we're going to check my spine out. Now, spinal MS, you know, I don't think I have any lesions on my spine, because I feel like if I did, I'd be showing more symptoms. Because a lot of the symptoms with spinal MS are very visible in the limbs, from what I understand. I don't shake. I don't have tremors. I haven't had any muscle weakness. Nothing's given out on me. I don't even think I've really been fatigued lately, honestly. Like, I get lazy sometimes. I want to lay around and sleep all the time, but I think that's more my lifestyle. So I'm not showing any symptoms. And then there's other things that you can do too, like where you test your foot or your hands, where you can actually like try to get your hands to do a reflex in a certain way, or your feet to do a reflex in a certain way. And I'm fine on those too. Like, you can take your foot and you scrape it with something, and if it curls in or if it freaks out and goes up the other way, that can be a sign of problems. And all these tests I'm fine on. So maybe we'll end up doing the MRI. Maybe they don't think I need to do one at all. So in terms of where I'm at right now, though, I am okay. I'm fine. I'm getting better, which is good. I think, honestly, I mentioned this earlier, the anxiety, I think, did so much to me, because when you have two doctors telling you have this awful autoimmune disease that can't ever be cured, and it's going to just kind of destroy your body slowly, or potentially very slowly, and then you just have to live inside the body you were given, and I don't know, that was a lot for me to handle. And the reason why I know anxiety was a big part of it was because I started having a lot more symptoms after the doctor was like, I think it might be MS. And then a lot of my symptoms got a lot better in the coming days after I was told my brain was fine. So I think that goes to show, like, I needed a couple of days after I was told things were okay for like my body to kind of just relax again. And I still get nervous about it, because honestly, like, the fact that there could still be something wrong does linger in my mind. It's something I think about still every day. And yeah, I don't trust my eyes sometimes. I'm like, oh God, can I see things how I could see them before? I mean, symptoms-wise, in terms of my eyes, I'm pretty asymptomatic. I can still see colors. I don't have any extra blind spots that I know of. And my visual acuity is fine. So we're good in a lot of places. So it is possible that, you know, my eyes were just born this way. And we got to pray for that, man. In terms of what's going on with dizziness, my best guess is the blood pressure problem at this point, because other things happen to me pretty frequently. Like, I'll get up and I'll get really dizzy. And I know everybody has that, but like, it's been happening a lot to me. Sometimes I'll get dizzy or nauseous when I'm eating. And I think that's a sign of low blood pressure as well. The blood's going to your system or into your stomach, and then your brain's like, hey, what about me? And I mean, that's really all I got left. We checked blood sugar stuff. That's fine. Check my thyroid. That's fine. I mean, we're running out of things, which is good. But as long as it's not, you know, sitting in my spine. So it could be my heart. I mean, I've had EKGs on my heart. If you don't know what those are, it's where they measure your heart for like 6 seconds. But maybe other things I would do is do like a full-blown stress test, and then maybe also do like a blood pressure monitor for like 24 or 48 hours, where I just like carry a cuff with me for 2 days, and it's just automatically going even when I'm sleeping. Because maybe that can cause eye issues too, if the pressures between your eyes and the rest of your body is a little too off whack. Other things that can cause problems with your eyes is like high blood pressure, but I have low blood pressure. My mom has low blood pressure. I have low blood pressure. She had low blood pressure her whole life, even though she's like a chronic smoker and never took care of her body and always ate like crap and horrible diet. And she had low blood pressure her whole life. And I'm the exact opposite of that type of lifestyle. So I think it might make a little more sense if I'm having low blood pressure when I'm really pushing myself, that it would cause some symptoms, and then maybe they linger for a little bit because I think about them. I don't know. Either way, that's where I'm at. If anybody has anything to share that they're going through, or maybe you know something about what I've gone through, I would love to read it in the comments. Or even if you're just dealing with your own stuff, go ahead and post up in the comments. I read just about every single comment. I don't respond to them all the time like I used to, but it's because I get so many of them that sometimes just aren't really worth responding to. Honestly, it's just like, hey, good video. I'm like, thanks. But if you got anything to share, you got a story to tell, let me know in the comments down below. And I guess end of the story here is I'm doing okay right now. We're kind of in limbo in terms of what's really going on. I see the eye doctor again in December. I see the neurologist in November. And we're going to start moving from there. Fingers crossed that the neurologist is like, nah, you seem fine to me. And that when I go to the eye doctor, nothing has progressed. And that the baseline of having thin optic nerves is just something I was born with, and that's the way it's going to be. And I can live with that because this is how I've always seen, right? I just don't want to lose anything I have. You know what I mean? That's what makes it so scary. The idea of losing something, having it be permanent, and having it feel like there's not really anything you can do about it. Try to eat good. I already do that. Take your vitamins. I'm doing that. That's what all you can do. And then you just kind of hope for the best with MS. And that's what was really been terrifying me. So I think we'll be okay. I think I'm fine. If I get sick again, that's going to be really scary because that could be a sign of it relapsing. But again, I think I'm fine. I think it's a low blood pressure thing. I'm trying to eat more salt, trying to make sure I get lots of potassium, trying to make sure all my vitamins are up, and I think we'll be okay. So, thank you guys for listening to me. That's what's been going on. That's why I haven't been posting videos. That's why I took a long time off of streaming, and when I was first getting back into streaming, I was only streaming for like an hour or two at a time. It's because I was exhausted, and I think the anxiety had a lot to do with it, and I probably just wasn't in a good way anyway, so I think we're good though now. I think we're back. Walking Dead comes out next week. Life is Strange 2 comes out next week. And then the end of the year here is going to have so many awesome games coming out. I want to share them with you. I want to play them with you. I just want to continue to grow the fam. So, thanks for listening to me babble. For all you that have been interested, I do talk about these things on Twitter and on Twitch. So go ahead and follow me on those. Again, they're in the description. Twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. Click it, follow me. It's in the description. If you don't have a Twitch, I don't have a Twitch. Everybody has Twitch. It's a website. If you don't have a Twitch account, make one real quick and then just follow me. It's really simple. You can make a Google account. You can make a Twitch account. Trust me, it's way easier. And then I'm also on Twitter too, and I post pretty regularly about what was going on. I know some of you guys are only ever following me on YouTube, so I wanted to update you guys. But seriously, if you ever want to, just talk to me or hang out or be a part of the live streams or just get to be a little more part of the Swing fam, do those two things. Follow the Twitch and then follow the Twitter, and you'll be able to stick around and talk to me, and we'll become friends. So, thank you guys. You guys are awesome, and I'm going to get going. So I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.